Hi, welcome to another tale from the Magic Story Cauldron. This one's a Korean folk tale. It's called The Tiger's Whisker. After many years in battle, a fierce and brave warrior returned home so heavy in his heart that it seemed to his wife as if his spirit had been killed in battle and that only his flesh and bones walked through the door. She welcomed him with great embraces and tears of joy, but he didn't respond to her touch. His icy eyes did not meet her gaze. He seated himself at the table and stared out of the window. The wife tried to engage him in conversation, but he didn't reply. She was a wonderful cook, and she prepared a huge, tasty meal. He barely ate it. She hovered over him like a mother bird over a new brood and chattered on, telling him jokes and news of the events he had missed in his absence. At night, they went to bed. She affectionately curled her arms over his shoulder and smothered his head with kisses. But he turned away and slept with his back to her, pulling the covers tightly around him. The wife became very upset with his coldness. One day, she scolded him for being so cruel and hard-hearted. "How can you treat me this way?" she wailed. "I have waited so long for your return and suffered in my loneliness." She dashed out of the door and ran and ran and ran until finally she came to the door of a wise old man who was known to make potions and magical charms. Tearfully, she pleaded, "Please, give me a love potion that will make my husband love me again. He has returned home from the war with no love left in his heart." The old man listened carefully to her complaint and finally replied, "Well, there's a special charm needed in a situation like this. I can help you win back your husband's love, but to make the potion, I will need the whisker of a fierce tiger. Now, if you can bring me such a whisker, I can help you win back your husband's love." The woman's mouth dropped open. Her eyebrows arched in surprise. "A tiger's whisper?" she exclaimed. "That will be impossible to obtain." The old man replied, "If you truly want to win the love of your husband, then you will bring me what I ask." The woman walked away from the old man's house, deep in thought. Her heart ached. She could not bear the situation as it was, so she went to the market to buy a chunk of meat. Carrying the meat, she travelled into the jungle until she saw the cave of a tiger. Hiding at a distance, she saw that the huge beast was peacefully asleep in the sun. The woman could not help but notice its sharp claws. She sat as still as a stone and watched the tiger's belly moved as he breathed. At last, she left the meat on the spot where she'd been sitting and went home. Each day, the woman returned to the tiger's cave with another piece of meat. Each day, she left the meat a few inches closer and patiently watched the animal. After several weeks, the tiger allowed her to approach and place the meat right in front of him. The more time passed, and the tiger allowed her to sit beside him as he ate. He would then stretch himself and sleep with his head on her lap. The first time she reached out and touched his sleek fur, a tremble ran through her body. The tiger purred like a giant house cat and slept on. Many days later, as she sat beside the huge napping creature, she took tiny scissors from her pocket and carefully snipped a whisker. She slipped away with the hard-won treasure in her pocket. When she was out of the jungle, she burst into a run that took her all the way to the old man's house. Clutching the tiger's whisker in her hand, she held it up and cried out with joy, "Here it is! I have the tiger's whisker! Now make me the love potion that will win back my husband's love." The old man took the whisker and examined it carefully. "It is truly what you say it is. Tell me, how did you obtain it?" The woman replied, "I was very patient. I approached the beast carefully and gently, left my offerings at a great distance, and each day I came just a bit closer. After a long time, when I was certain that the creature trusted me, I moved closer still. Finally, I was able to reach out and touch him, for at long last he was not afraid." The old man nodded as the woman unfolded her tale. "That is very interesting," he said, and tossed the whisker into the fire. The woman shrieked with alarm. "Ah! After all my effort, you've thrown away the special ingredient you need to make the love potion?" The old man smiled and gently replied, "You do not need a love potion. Any woman who can tame a ferocious tiger can certainly win the love of her husband. Go home, dear woman, and be patient with your husband. Trust that the magic charm to win his heart is already within you." The woman returned home with new understanding, and she stopped scolding. She stopped demanding love. With great patience and the gentle warmth that had tamed a tiger, she melted the icy heart of her warrior husband. The Korean tale of the tiger's whisker. And another tale from the Magic Story Cauldron coming up very soon. See you soon.